There we go. So good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I think we are all over the world. It's literally my afternoon. As I said, very early morning for Sarah in Australia. Thank you so much for waking up early to be here with us. And it's getting pretty late for Jorge and for others that are in Europe. So thank you so much for your interest. Thank you so much for being here. That just shows how passionate you are about design, I believe, or mentorship. So I'm very grateful to have you here. I appreciate your time. I would like to start by presenting myself, and later I'll give the opportunity for Sara and Jorge to present themselves. But my name is Luna. I'm the program manager for Ecos Design Leadership. I'll be pretty much taking care of this program for 2 years now, almost 2 years, and it's such a big pleasure. I should have counted what is the number of this fire session, but I've spoke to probably at least 100 design leaders in the course of the last 2 years, and that's quite a lot. So I'm curious to see what you guys have to say. And I'm the person, if anyone wants to know anything about Design Leadership Program, that's me. This is the face. You're welcome to email me. I'll make sure to leave my email address on the chat. And who is Ecos? We are pretty big in Brazil, I would say. We have been in the market for the past almost 12 years now. We are an independent global desirable futures lab. We have two business models. We have an incubator, or I would like to say actually a consulting for innovation, where we help business create value and innovation for good. And we also have a design school where, for instance, design leadership course will be found. Our purpose is to foster the next generation of design leaders worldwide. And we are the only independent consultancy design agency among all the Global Design Thinking Alliance group. So it's such an honor for us to be part of this big group leading design research for many, many years now. And everything we do is through design. We are quite passionate about design. You see, it's quite obvious. We do believe in the power of design. We believe in design as a way to transform new realities. And we are combining design and business because we believe that that is the way that we can create massive change. And one of the ways that we're doing that is through Design Leadership Program. It's a 10-week program. We are going to season 3. It's quite unbelievable that we've come so far. It starts on April 3rd. These that you see here on the screen are the 10 weeks and the 10 themes that we explore during the course. Under this 4 spheres here, which is you and yourself. And I think we're going to be talking a little bit about that today with mentorship. You and others. Again, I think we'll talk a little bit about that today. You and the products and the services that you deliver, and you and the system that you are delivering something to. This is a little bit of the lineup coming to the Design Leadership Season 3. Big names that you will see there. They do not work for Ecos. They only believe in the same thing that we do, is that design is going through a big shift right now, and we need to create the standards for what the 5 or 10 years of design will be looking like. This is an exclusive program for design leaders or innovation leaders or creative leaders, and I would love to sit and have a conversation about this with anyone that is interested. Again, starting on April 3rd, going all the way until June. I'm not going to go in depth with this because you can find every information in the website and we can have a conversation, as I said, and I would love to discuss a little bit more about the structure of the course because it's quite deep. But for now, I really want to give the stage to Sara and Jorge. I have a couple questions for you, but I would love to just start by letting one of you, and I'm not going to be pointing fingers, so please, you always figure out who wants to start first, but I would like for you to let us know who you are, and then we can move forward to the other questions. Please.
You can go, Sarah.
Awesome.
So I'm Sarah. So I am a service design lead at Prosper at the moment, and my background's in industrial design and research as well. And so I just love the interconnection between like strategy, research, and like service design, like how you bring all of that together to better deliver like amazing products, and working with the business as well. A lot of my experience is around either designing software for software companies or working in financial services and designing financial experiences for people. And then just in my personal life, I have like a deep love for drawing, watercolors, doing like improvisation. So improvising like and working with like different improv groups. And then also like stand up is like one of my favorite things to do as well.
Jorge,
Nice.
please let us know who you are.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you, Luna and ECOS, for this opportunity. It's amazing to be here and be able to talk and discuss about design. Always good. So thank you for this. Well, my name is Jorge. I'm from Madrid in Spain. I did my studies in London. I studied illustration and visual communication. So my background comes from illustration, but there in London, Westminster University, I had the chance to try different techniques and explore different fields within the creative world. And yeah, I did a lot of design back then, learned from the best, and it was very good experience. And then after that, I was doing a few freelancing jobs with different agencies and different companies, all very related to brand and what used to be called web design. Now it's more sophisticated. It's more developed into product design and UX, UI. So yeah, I'm into that right now. I'm currently working as a senior product designer at James Edition. James Edition is a luxury marketplace. And yeah, this is me. Thank you very much.
That's amazing. I always love to know a couple of secrets that we don't actually get to know, especially when we only know each other through emails mostly, especially the three of us. So it's good to know and find some synergies here and there. Sarah, I love that you do watercoloring. I am trying to get into this. And Jorge, we share the same background because I also come from branding, even though now I'm working with design. So it's good to find some synergy. And as I said, we're going to be talking about design leadership and mentorship. But I would like for us to start by defining design leadership. And before I let you guys talk a little bit on the subject, I would like to tell everyone the reason why Sarah and Jorge are here today, which is because last year through ADP List, we selected some of the mentors to help us, again, define and answer a couple questions about design leadership, about the market, about their inspirations, and what was it to actually be a design leader in the world like we have today. I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to add any adjectives to it. It's just a different world, right? And so for those who are here that have not yet downloaded the ADP ebook list, ADP List ebook with our interviews with Sarah, Jorge, and 4 other ADP mentors, please, it's easy to find on our website. I'll also make sure to share the link. It's quite beautiful and insightful. So first of all, thank you again. This is our second collaboration. I am quite excited to actually hear you speaking about the subject. And I would love for one of you to hop in and let me know what is your definition, because maybe that can inspire other people to understand a concept that, yes, it's needed, but in so many ways is still new. Design leadership is a new thing. And I would love to see what is your perspective about it. Who would like to go first?
Jorge, did you want to go?
Okay, yeah, I can go. Well, I guess design leadership. I guess there are many different ideas around this concept, and it will change depending on who you talk to. But maybe I can talk about one of the things that the design leadership means to me. For me, being a design leader is among other things, is about to bring a team together, not only designers. Sometimes you need to bring a team of other profiles as well. So, you know, during my design leadership experience, I have discovered that you cannot do it alone. It's always very important to work on relationships with other members of the company, other colleagues, other stakeholders. So for this reason, design leaders, I think they need to feel, you know, like very sure or very comfortable when they're having meaningful conversations with the team. And also, I think I would like to say, like, technical skills matter. They're very important, of course, because it's a professional career and a professional field. But I think soft skills matter for me even more. You know, they're very difficult to reach sometimes. So for design leaders, I think we need to show empathy and connect with the team. You know, so there's we need to be able to listen to them and be able to highlight the needs and all that. I don't know, things like having a holistic view of your team and their motivations. We need to kind of look beyond and seeing them not only as resources, but also as people. So that's for me very important. So I guess it's gathering people together and getting excited about an idea. And that's it.
Thanks, Jorge. My views are, yeah, kind of similar to that. And I really like the idea that it's not just like when you get to a certain stage as a designer, it's like the whole, like your whole career is like you being a design leader and like having those leadership skills to be able to work with others and bring them along the design process and making sure that they're involved in it, that you're inspiring them and like challenging them to be able to really shine as you go through different projects, as you make sure design's embedded in a company, and then also as you like influence and support like different views of like where are we going in the future, what does that look like, and working with everyone across the business to really design that experience together and really being a leader, not just in design but just generally in the organization, being a leader to then bring that aspect of design into it. Like, how do we make sure that design's involved? How do we make sure different types of design's involved, like product design, service design? How do we make sure that the visual designers are involved, like making sure that everyone's included in the process? And then it's also like the operational side. So being a design leader around like how do we operate in terms of our processes for design as well. And then also the culture of our team, like just the design team as well. Like, what is that culture? How do we make sure that we develop a really lovely culture together so that we can all thrive, and then also have like processes that enable us to make sure that a company is like design led and bringing all of those different perspectives together.
I love those answers, and I believe that some people are probably having that resonating with them, and some people that maybe are to become a design leader feeling like, oh my God, this is just a lot. And it really is. But Jorge, I think you nailed it. For me, I believe that design leadership is truly about getting people excited about something, which I think goes aligned with sustaining a vision. Because if you have a good vision, you will necessarily keep those people excited. And I think that's exactly what it should be, at least, especially considering that everything that we're designing for the future. So if we're designing something exciting, that means the future will also be exciting. So now that you shared what design leadership is, I would like to bring it back a little more personal to you and know more of, yes, you shared who you are and what you're doing, but maybe a couple of little steps, like a timeline of your life to where you started with whatever you studied and you now being a design leader. Is there a story? I think people usually, they keep stories better than information, and I would love for them to get to know you a little bit better.
Now you go, Sarah.
Couldn't see if you're unmuted or not. Yeah, so my background, I started as like a UX researcher, then moved into service design. And when I was like kind of like junior midway designer, one of the people that I was working with, I was working on a transformation project, and we were working towards like the transformation of advice. And it was during that project that my principal designer that I was working with at the moment, at the time, was kind of encouraging me to like lead projects, to be able to bring the team together, to bring them along the journey as well. And that was when I started to realize to become really like a leader in that space as I was growing it from like a midweight designer to like a senior designer. So being able to kind of realize that as I was leading projects, it was not just like, yeah, like your lead designer, like the sole designer on the project, but it's like, how do you take on those leadership skills to really become and embody like a design leader as well, so that you're the person that they come to when they need to understand an experience, they want to do customer research and becoming that person. And so enabling, so my principal designer at the time, he just like enabled me to become and really evolve as a leader, so that it enabled me like to then be like the expert that people came to, so that I could like inspire and challenge the team to really design really lovely experiences. And now like I've progressed to lead designer. And so really taking those kind of like foundational elements of enabling people to do design to then bring that as I go along my journey. Okay.
Nice. Thank you, Sarah. Well, how did I become a leader? I don't know. I don't have it like 100% clear in my mind, but I guess it's a long journey, and like Sarah mentioned before, it's a constant learning along the way. And implies not only being a good designer, but also to be able to anticipate like business matters and people matters, and be updated, right? I mean, for me, it was like I started as a craft illustrator. I really enjoy drawing on my sketchbooks, notebooks. I even did graffiti for a while, so I was like that that kind of guy, you know, like going on the streets with my spray cans. So I really enjoy that. So from that point, I knew that I wanted to be like into the creative field, creative world. I was a craft illustrator, and then I got more into digital illustrator, kind of using freehands and all these softwares, very old-fashioned softwares, but that was my resources back then. And then I guess I saw the opportunity on combining like digital illustration, design, brand design, and all that took me into web design, because there was a lot of needs for companies to create the websites. So I was doing a lot of websites, landing pages, small digital products. So then is when I started into the product digital design. I had one like precise experience with a company in London. It was called MediaTree, and they hired me as a main designer. So that was my first, I guess, experience with leading, because they wanted to build a website, and they were very ambitious about it. They wanted to create the biggest and the nicest website ever, but they didn't have like a clear brief. It was the brief was actually, I was building the brief by talking to stakeholders. So I think that was my first experience with, you know, like leading a project. So that for me was a very important step. You know, and one of the things that comes to my mind also that helped me a lot, it was to learn from people that I was finding on the way, you know, people that I was finding interesting, and people that liked them the way they were, I don't know, interacting with other people. So I guess I did copy them, you know. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that, right? To copy. Of course, always behaviors and things that really suits me, you know. So that was very important for me.
I love both stories, and I believe that it's a lot about us. When you're doing something that is really who you are and doing something that you're passionate about, I think it's almost natural for you to become a leader, because you're being authentic to yourself, and people need that. They need to be reminded that it can be also authentic, because it is important. And we are going to this question. And I think the both of you mentioned something that I think is quite interesting and connected to mentorship. Sarah, you had someone that saw the leader in you, right? The principal designer back then, that somehow made you realize, oh, maybe I am a leader. And I'm sure in different ways, Jorge, you saw mirrors, you saw other people that were inspiring you and making you believe that well, maybe there's something with my set of skills that it's similar to what this person is doing. So I might as well be able to succeed and inspire other people. So there's always something about the mirroring. It's always something about seeing somebody else that can say that back to you or bounce something back to you. And I believe, I don't really know, I should have put the question here, how did you become a leader or a mentor? But regardless of, I would love to know the story as well, but I'm interested to know why. What is it that inspires you so much that you want to share it back to other people? So why are you a mentor?
I can go on this one. For me, it's very easy. I became a mentor because I had a mentor, and for me that was such an amazing professional experience. You know, like it was more like a tipping point of my career, because before I had previous experience that teach me a lot, but it was only then when I had the pleasure to work with. It's called Gabriel Suchobolowski, you know, Microbians, and we worked together in Domestika, and he was my, I would say he was art director kind of thing. But then we were doing many things, but yeah, his title was like art director. And you know, he had enough patience with me to teach me and guide me during our experience together. Not only patience, I will say, but also he allowed me to make mistakes, you know, and that's super important, you know, and that mistakes took me into a position where I can actually solve complex problems by myself, you know. Sometimes he was giving me the right feedback, sometimes was only with the silence, you know, like I was asking him for feedback and he wouldn't reply. So I had to find the way to actually solve the problems myself. So for me, that was the experience, you know. And when I understood that what he was doing to me, it took me a while. It wasn't like at the very beginning that I understood what he was doing to me. It took me, I don't know, maybe a year, a couple of years, or a few months. That's where I really understood what to be a mentor is. I mean, the first steps of being a mentor. So that's my experience.
Thanks, Jorge. Mine probably came from one role that I was in where I was quite new and there wasn't really much mentorship, and it was kind of, you were kind of left on your own. You were like trying to get help, learn from others, but there wasn't like that opportunity. Whereas in another one, it was being able to have that relationship with other designers and learn from each other, sharing stories, talking through problems, and really just learning from each other. And so I talked about before, and previous principal designer that I worked with, like being able to have those conversations where like he'd sit down and like we'd just be chatting, like having like a through projects, like what are we doing, like what is the next steps, like, and sharing stories about that. And he'd just be like sketching on his iPad and just be having like casual chats to just like work through and like figure out what to do next, and being able to develop that relationship. And so that's why I love like mentoring and like being able to just form relationships with other people, to be able to share advice, share stories, my past experience, being able to get to know each other, and not just being there on your own and trying to like, it's like there's a moment in time where it's like, oh, you need to like solve, like Jorge said, like being able to solve the problem yourself, but also feeling like you have that person that's there, like if you need to go talk to them, have a chat, work through something and learn from someone else's experience as well. And so I think like the storytelling element, and I love telling stories, like I always bring it as part of my design process. So being able to have that storytelling element, that sharing of advice, like past experiences, I think is just wonderful. And everyone has so much to share, that being able to do that with someone else and form that connection, I just think is a wonderful thing to be able to do.
I love this. And I believe everyone that is looking for a mentor, or anyone that is actually a mentor, as I mentioned before, it either comes from a place that you see so much value in what you're doing, or you're so passionate about what you're doing that you want to offer more of that because you're just probably overflowing passion and desire to make something beautiful that you just want to share that with people. And I said to you privately, and I would like to say this again, I've been seeing a pattern in design leaders, and the pattern is humility. It's so beautiful to see that people that have very tight schedules, meetings after meetings, and they're solving very complex problems for the world, they are the people that actually invest time in helping others. And I think this gives hope in so many levels. It gives so much hope, especially in a moment like right now with all the big layoffs. And I'm shifting to the next question. Big layoffs, uncertainty. There's just so much going on. I believe people are in much need of a good and honest conversation, especially when it comes to our profession, because everything that's happening with us financially globally necessarily is impacting industries and job roles and people's positions and livelihood. But I would like for you to share either your own personal story, even though you kind of already touched on that, or someone else's story, someone that you're mentoring, of course, changing the name unless the person knows that you're going to be sharing this story. A situation where you saw that because of the mentoring, someone, I don't know, felt helped, or something, a big shift happened, or something good happened, or something bad was happening, and then something okay was coming, like a little better scenario because of mentoring. Either you mentoring, you being mentored, or another story that you've heard about mentorship.
I can share. I have a few stories, but I'll try and rein it in. So yeah, like I talked about before, my previous like principal designer, like that relationship that we formed was like wonderful. So I found that really accelerated my career by being able to work with him like one-on-one to learn about like design, what is the process, what do we need to do, and then but also just like how to lead yourself as well. One of my key like values is like fun and like freedom and like openness, and he really shared those as well. And so like we'd be on a really tough project, and like he'd bring one of my favorite foods, which is like after dinner mints. I say foods as if that's like a food group. Snacks. And so he'd bring that, and like it would just lighten the mood, and we'd like all have like an after dinner mint, or we'd like save the after dinner mints in the center of the table for like after we did a bunch of work. And so we'd be like super stressed out. We'd be running a bunch of research with different types of users and customers, and we'd be trying to analyze and like synthesize all of the work. And we'd have like, he'd bring all of the fun activities for us to do to like bring everyone's mood up and make everyone have like a really good time. And so it's not just, it's been able to have that environment and uplifting the mood of everyone else. And I just like, those are like some of my best memories, but it's also like some of the times where like you're in a really stressful situation, but you're able to like bring the mood up by having your mentor there, by being able to work with them and just bouncing off them as well. I just found that like such a wonderful time, because like, when you're in like you were saying, like in a moment where it's like super stressful, you're not sure what are the next steps. And so being able to have a mentor there who's able to uplift the mood, to really bring the energy, and to make you feel like you're not in the worst position. They know you, and they know how to like uplift your mood and how to like bring you out of that. So that's my story.
Nice, really nice. Yeah, I'm gonna talk more or less about the same person again. My first mentor is Microbians. That's his artistic name, okay? Microbians. He's called Gabriel. But I'm going actually to insist on these silence moments that I was actually desperate for his feedback, because he helped me a lot. But and then I was asking me, I don't know, we were stuck in a project or a task, and then I was waiting for his feedback to actually carry on, and he didn't reply to me because, okay, we work remotely, okay, so it was working through Slack. I remember it was Slack, yeah. So I wouldn't get his feedback in 1 hour or 2 hours. So I was taking the initiative myself and just carry on, and then moving forward and learning a lot from that experience. And then after that, talking to him, maybe in the meeting the next day or something, he actually told me like he was intentionally. At the very beginning, I thought he was upset. I don't know, I was doing something wrong. So I was like very frustrated, but he was doing it on purpose. So it was, I don't know, such a big gesture with me, you know. So I was very, very happy about meeting him. And now he's became my friend. So it's really beautiful relation. You know, also, I want to also mention me being part of ADP List mentorship program. I face myself with a lot of situations, you know, and I am lucky enough to meet many different profiles in the mentor sessions, you know. So sometimes it's a senior profile, sometimes are like more junior, but every session that I have, I learn a lot from them. You know, so it's like you mentioned before, Luna, it's like looking into a mirror and seeing the problems that you might have or you had in the past, and together facing them and trying to solve them. So that's also very challenging for me.
Yeah, I love what you both are saying, and more that I'm hearing you, more I see a lot of similarities between the role of a mentor and the role of a leader, because it really is someone that is somehow wise, right? And can see so much about you, either by reflection or from pure observation, and help you bring that out, highlight something that is special and unique and authentic about you. And either by changing your mood and uplifting it, or by simply maybe challenging you by letting you make your own decisions, just like knowing you so much to the point that you can break through and go to your next level, which I think both a mentor and a leader is looking for. And I love what you're sharing. And I think there's just so much, there's so many benefits in having a mentor, and potentially even mentoring someone, because we always have something good to tell someone. And if it's not necessarily about something technical, because maybe you don't have, but when it's about confidence, when it's about understanding how to listen more and give feedback, or something that you already have in your background that you can share, I think it's always beneficial, because we need to back each other up, especially in moments of challenge.
You know, with I want to say something else. It's like when I find maybe more junior mentees, and they came to me asking for like insights of my everyday work or methodologies or things like that. You know, nowadays we live in a moment that we have access to a lot of resources, which is, I think, is really good. You know, like even free stuff. You know, so you can learn from home. And that's super good, but it's also overwhelming sometimes for someone that is not in the industry or is looking for a job or things like that, because we can see all this information is difficult to digest sometimes for them. So when I come to them and tell them like, listen, and this company will also have these problems, and we also face this like this, you know, we also have these challenges, and they feel very grateful about this, you know, to tell them the real story thing. So
100%. And sometimes a matter of validation too, especially now working isolated. We do, even though it's remote, and for so many people it's great. I love it personally. There is a moment where we question if what we're doing is actually right, because you cannot just look to your left or right and ask your colleague, is this okay? Am I crazy, or whatever it may be? And also, there's so many references, you don't really know what is the right reference for you. So having someone that can guide you, feel safer in so many ways. And I would like to start navigating to our final questions before we maybe open to question and answers. I am curious to know, what do you see as the future of design leadership? We are in the moment of big shifts. And we're actually yesterday or today, I don't even know, because yesterday, Australia, Ecos launched our new design campaign, talking about the new paradigm shift, because we're truly in a complete new moment. That design into so many industries, it's still something new. There's not really a lot of design maturity in so many different companies and in different industries. But for designers, this is a very old story, and we are shifting from service designers to journey map operations, and we're becoming more specialized, and we are becoming more holistic at the same time. I know there's very contradiction, but it's really what's happening. There's a big shift from design as a beautification tool to design as a core business. And I would like to see your perspective. Sarah's in Australia, Jorge is in Europe, I'm in Brazil. We see complete different scenarios in our daily lives at work and in our lives, just buying products that are design driven in so many ways, even it's not only our companies. And I would like to understand, how do you see the future of design? How do you see the shifts that are happening? How do you see design and design leadership especially being impacted by these big transitions that we have been facing for the past 3 or 4 years?
You know, I can go with this one. For me, this is a really difficult question to answer right now. Super difficult. I don't know. To be honest, I don't really know how the future of design looks like. I can guess the future of leadership is about giving space to new talents and giving the chance to new people to take the lead of it. And about design, I don't know. I think it will be very much linked to technology and all this new artificial intelligence stuff coming up, and I don't know. I have the feeling that we are in the beginning of something really big. You know, I don't know if it's gonna be for good or for bad, but for us. But I can't risk to say, I don't know, a prediction right now, to be honest. I'm not brave enough.
You're brave to be vulnerable and say that you don't really know, and I think
I don't really know.
A lot of us don't. I would love to have Sarah's answer before I contribute with my 2 cents.
Yeah, I guess kind of like Jorge, I was like, oh, this question's hard, but I guess I can also talk about like what like my hopes are as well, and then like what I've also observed from like say my own organization at Prosper. Like we've gone through a process of defining like what is our product delivery framework, and a lot of that's been guided by the designers as well as the product team to be able to go like, how do we work together? What does that process look like? And so I feel like a lot of organizations will go through that transition as well, where it's like the ability to make sure that like the way that we work together as a team is like guided by design. And a lot of the projects that I'm doing have had that design process like guidance, where it's like you're able to see that benefit of design realized as you go forward, and people start to see the value. Like we have like so many people in our organization that's now asking for like, oh, we need a designer here to help us do this process to make sure that this is done right, that the outcome is like guided by design. And I think like a lot of business schools are also teaching like say design thinking, or like MBAs are teaching like design thinking, and so it becomes like more of a like it's like known by all, but it's also then guided by design. And so it doesn't mean that like because everyone knows design thinking, you don't need designers, but it becomes more that like design's understood and the value of design in the business and how it can deliver value, so that then design leaders can focus more on what is the like design excellence, because like you were saying before, Luna, like that maturity of design in some organizations, like it's quite low. And so I feel like as more like education's delivered around design and more people become familiar with it, it's also about then letting designers to then focus on design excellence. How do we deliver really good design? How do we enable design throughout the organization? And how do we guide how we work to be all about like, what is the business value? What is the customer value that we're delivering? What is like that technical value that we're delivering and enabling throughout the organization, so that we can become like and deliver like really great value overall when you add it all together. And so I think it's really about that enabling design through the process, through the people, and bringing them along for the journey and having that shine much more than it is now.
I love this, and I agree. I think how I see it from what I'm reading and from conversations I've been having with so many different design leaders from all over the world is that for a company to remain relevant, either they expedite their learning curve about design to become mature as fast as possible. Otherwise, they are going to disappear for many different reasons, but especially because if they don't have design intrinsic to their core business, most likely they are not truly adding value 360, which I think it's the reason why a lot of companies right now are becoming less relevant. And then I have to say it, I truly believe in it. Of course, branding and storytelling needs to be part of design, or design needs to be part of that. It's all in the same melting pot, I believe, because we need to design better narratives to explain what we actually mean by it, who are actually the people and systems that are going to be benefiting from it. And because of that, because I truly believe that design is, at least for the current moment, the only discipline that sees things from a holistic perspective, I see design leadership playing a gigantic role, because design leaders are those that have something natural about them to be able to maybe predict, to use some of the words that Jorge bring before, to predict, anticipate futures and create those visions by incorporating so many different perspectives and keeping the team connected, engaged, excited. So I think design leadership will play and is playing a gigantic role in this shift that needs to occur for those companies that are not yet highly mature in design, and for the companies and industries that are leading the rest of the market into, we need to be a little more empathetic. We need to actually be adding value to everyone. Otherwise, there's something wrong with the process. That's what I think. Maybe it will all be different. And I think it's more of a hope than me actually doing research. I would love to believe that that's true, because it sounds good. But I would like to open space now for question and answers. I don't know if there's anyone here with us, they're still here, that have questions to Sarah and Jorge or myself, either about this mentoring with one of you, or about design leadership in general. If there's anyone, raise your hand, or please just unmute yourself and talk to us. And in case we don't have anyone who wants to say anything, I would like to ask Jorge and Sarah if you feel comfortable maybe sharing your LinkedIn profile on the chat so people can have access to it. I think that's always a good, there's always a good idea to open the channel to speak to people, because we never really know what they have to say or ask. And I would like to just, again, bring back to design leadership. This is one of the conversations that we've been having related to design leadership. There are so many others that you can find on our YouTube channel, and you can have access to our YouTube channel too, through our website, through Ecos Design Leadership website. So it's easy for you to find any other subject that you would like to hear about. If you want to know a little bit more about Jorge and Sarah's perspective on design leadership, please download the ebook. It's free. We're really trying to create as many materials as possible. We are trying to help in the expediting the learning curve to design maturity. We truly are. Ecos really is trying to do that with everything we possibly have. The course starts in April, so pretty much a month and a half. We still have some spots available. If you want to know more about the structure of the course itself, I'm happy to be talking to you about it. It's quite fascinating. We have a couple of fire sessions coming up with other mentors from ADP and some ambassadors for Ecos Design Leadership. And we'll be talking more about this paradigm shifts and some other understandings about design and leadership. So stay tuned, because we're trying to really help people with their understanding about design. And again, I would like to thank you both, Sarah and Jorge, for being so humble, for sharing your time. I know it's super late in Madrid, and I know it's super early in Australia, and I appreciate you for that. And I'm also placing myself available if I can help with anything. The two of you or anyone that is here tonight, please, you're welcome to contact me. Let me stop sharing this so I can share here on the chat my email address, and you can talk to me. And I think that's it. Anything else that you guys would like to add?
Yeah, I want to say thank you again. Yeah, since I met you, Luna, and Eikos, only good things happening. So thank you very much for everything.
I'm truly grateful. I mean it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm the same. Just to say thank you so much for having me, and it's been wonderful being able to chat with you all, like, and share our thoughts and just collaborate together.
Yeah, more we do that, the more we'll be creating a good shift in mindsets and everything else that we probably need to see in the world. Thank you so much. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks in the next fire session.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.